Wow, so welcome, man. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, thank you for inviting, man.
First time in history, actually. Well, not history lah. First time, at least on my podcast, that a guest brings their own headphones, man. And I guess this is a hallmark, a hallmark of a true production sound guy lah. You always have your own gear everywhere ready to go.
I think even especially during pandemic, right, you become more wary with hygiene and all that, right? So it's like, okay, bring your own stuff, clean your own stuff. Even when it came to mics and all that, when you're miking up people, right, you always have to clean. So it's just the mindfulness, the heightened awareness suddenly.
Yeah. I would safe to say it should be a normal practice anyway, isn't it?
I think it's more like that also, and whether you're a studio owner, and or location sound guy, or even for a live sound guy, right? It's just more like you're gear proud of your own stuff.
Yeah. Talking about hygiene, man. I mean, I'm sure you've been to like maybe the janky jamming studios where the vocal mic's never clean, and then oh my god, it smells like
that's the thing.
Spit and vomit.
Before COVID, I think 2019. That time, those days, I used to perform quite a bit here and there, right? And going to a studio, whether it's going to a studio or whether it's playing live and all that, right? You go to a venue's mic and all that.
Oh.
And then, because playing in a metal band, right, you want to scream and all that. But when you approach the mic, it's hard for you to sing your heart out when
the mic
smells like whatever.
Yeah, it smells like, last Saturday's puke.
Yeah. So I think that forced me to actually take pride in bringing my own stuff and all that. Because you want to be in a place where you're comfortable yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's more an increasing culture nowadays even with singers and vocalists, right?
Yes.
Obviously, COVID, raised the awareness lah. So a lot of singers now, invest and buy their own mics, at least. Yeah.
Bring your own mics.
Bring your own mics, yeah.
Bring your own mics, man.
Yeah. I mean, and if the sound guys give you hell or bitch about it, come on, man. Yeah.
They're probably not sound guys, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Every professional, FOH engineer or monitor engineer or whatever, they are perfectly okay one, as long as their job is to make you happy and get and do the job, right? Because you're working in a team.
True.
It's not like it doesn't have to be like, oh, I must use my equipment only my way, must do it my way. It's like make it comfortable for the performer as well.
I suppose there's a balance to it, I think. I think it's more like if you have functioning gear of your own and like for myself, like you get radio mics. You ask yourself, what is this for? What is this for?
Yeah.
What is this for? And then when it comes to the job, you trust your gear is good enough to function and get paid.
Yeah.
That's the only...
That's given. That's given.
It's a given thing, but...
The gear must be functioning.
Right? And when you get more jobs and then when you're familiar with your own gear, I think it's just those minor details that makes you perform a little better.
Yeah.
Routine and all that does help.
Familiarity, having a system in place.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah. So back to the question, what headphones are those?
This one was gifted by a friend.
Nice.
Right? And I know this podcast does a lot of shout outs.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian Lee from MixStream. So basically because he noticed that I did a few videos on my own and all that, so he said, hey, because he's like, he does sell sound devices, which are like known for field recorders in the film industry and all that, for Hollywood and all that. So he had this product. So he said, hey, I pass it to you. I'm in Singapore. I came down in Malaysia. Do a review for me. And I collect it back. So, to me, it was like, I didn't ask for payment because it's like, hey, I'm into this video thing a little bit, so this is a good opportunity to start something. And lo and behold, after editing it, mixing it and all that, and then he came over, he saw the product, he was happy. And he gifted me these. These are the Audio-Technica, what was it? M60X?
M60X, right.
M60X. Before that, I was using the M40X on the field.
Yeah.
So M40X, good for the money. They give you very good mids. But these give you certain clarity lah. I mean, when you listen to it, you'll know lah. Right? Yeah.
it's a step up lah. But so shout out to Brian.
Accentry Singapore.
Accentry Singapore, yeah. Awesome, man.
You want VCCom, you want sound devices, you go to Accentry.
Yeah. Free advertising.
Free advertising. Good friend.
Yeah. They have to do a paid promotion. So super casual thing. Thanks for coming to do this, man.
No, thank you for
inviting. I mean, it's so casual and so unconventional that, I even forgot to do a proper intro for you. So, yeah, that's the thing. It's supposed to be a casual thing. People who watch this, or should already know who you are already. Yeah.
Just out there learning a living only lah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe just introduce yourself. Tell those who are watching, who are listening to this, who you are, what do you do, and what's it all about?
JJ here. I am a location sound recordist.
Mm-hmm.
So what a location sound recordist does is basically we are in the team, like in the film industry. We're basically the sound department of the film industry. So what we do is we capture dialogue and on-site Foley effects.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not the right term. I think Foley is more studio.
Yeah.
But it's like more like capturing sound effects, live sound effects, and also dialogue for film.
Yeah.
So whatever you hear on TV about dialogue and all that, people speaking and all that, so basically we are the people behind the scenes actually recording it.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. So yeah. So because I think we were discussing this earlier, people always ask, what do you do? So finally, let's cut this clear. This is what location sound recordists do. They are like, the most, I feel that they're one of the most underappreciated people, in the whole team. They're always the ones who are supposed to be low profile, yet be out of sight, be out of frame, right?
Yeah.
So you always want to be not noticed, but yet you play such a crucial part to the, because imagine again you watch a movie, turn off your volume and see how's your,
Yeah.
Turn off your sound, turn off the music and everything. Yeah, turn off the dialogue.
I think for the layman themselves, I mean, like, because they are not exposed to the industry themselves, they are just irregular people that just consume media, right? I think it's more like the visual always comes first.
Yeah.
And everything is secondary. So I don't blame them per se.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think it's all about education. It's like when you get into it and you're enlightened and like, this is how it works.
Yeah.
So I think people place more importance in visual because of how they consume themselves.
Yes, correct.
And when they start to realize that, there is sound, how is it done?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sound, obviously how effective, real dialogue is one thing, but things like sound design, right? And of course, Foley.
They carry the visual experience along with it, right?
I think, it's been described that way that it really, the buzzword is immersive, but it immerses you. It makes you believe and really feel like you are in the scene, you are, and it's just you're not detached from what's happening on the screen. It makes you feel like you're there.
I think it's like a David Fincher kind of saying. I think it was David Fincher, right? Like he says, like, the overall experience of a movie is basically, or anything that you consume, 50% visual and 50% sound. So sound does matter.
It does, yeah. It's half the experience, yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to sound, like working in the industry, like perhaps here maybe, like people say like, okay, sound recordist is here. Let's record that lah. And then for us, right, for location sound, recording dialogues or for a scene. And what people experience in film, like working in film, is that for the sound department, we have to look out for lighting because of the boom that we try to position ourselves towards the actor. When the lighting hits, there's a shadow overcast because of the boom, then we have to find another way to actually mic up, right?
Yeah.
Especially for external sounds that we have to deal with, external noises that we have to deal with, like traffic and all that. And these are part of what we do to try and rectify, solve these problems.
Mm.
And a lot of times it's a fighting battle because we're going back about how people always place visuals importance first, right?
Yeah.
And they only know how to say visual first, and they say like, hey, can we do that in poster? But
Yeah.
sound engineering 101, you got to get your source right.
Yeah. Mm.
Because I'm working closely with the post guys. So I think it's all about education. Like, oh, this is why we do the things we do. This is why we do such methods.
Yeah.
To achieve the whole experience.
Yeah. I mean, getting the source right, so that is why you place so much importance on your craft, your skills, your techniques, your gear. It's because so that it makes later on when you go to post, it makes the post guy's job easier, which in the end gives you an overall better product.
And it's unfortunate that, when people say like, hey, why the sound is so bad, then they look at the post guy and they don't realize that the source may not be up to desired standards.
Yeah, sometimes it's because of that.
So,
but we know without going into that whole rabbit hole, well, we could later on if you want to, but let's cycle back then. So it's always fascinating for me to learn about all the different fields and all the different specialties that everyone has. I've talked to mastering engineers, post-production guys, live sound people, and now, but you are the first one who is a location sound recordist. Yeah. So, but I really very, very fascinated because I always follow up and read all those articles and watch all those stuff related to that because obviously, sound for film is an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing. And, so it would be interesting to hear your story. How did you get into this in the first place? So maybe cycle back to, how did you get started? Growing up, did you get into this, or what was it that got you into this?
I think for most engineers that we talk to, right, like or be friend with, like in the industry, like that question is always. I think the answer to that question is always like most of the time, what got you into sound? Music.
Yeah. Exactly.
Music. I think growing up as a teenager, like I had very little interest with, I wasn't interested in a lot of things. I mean, it's like if I were to look at things, right, it's like, I don't think that's what I want to do. Or when I see other people like, oh, why are you going to study like law and all that? That's not my thing. And I was lost in that sense because like, I love music so much. Like, why couldn't I do music? But when you have Asian parents that say like, oh,
doctor, lawyer, engineer,
architect. So I was stuck in that sense. So I actually took a drive with my dad and he said like, hey, instead of becoming a musician, I mean, you can become a musician, but why not be an audio engineer as a backing? And I was like, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, like he was explaining it to me. So I thought, okay, maybe I can become a studio engineer. So my goal at that time was like, I wanted to become a studio engineer, make records, and be a producer. And, you have ideas in your head like for the future.
Yeah.
And after that, so I went to ICOM.
ICOM, right? Yes, correct.
Went to ICOM, studied. And then again, the internship, right? A lot of the studios were filled already at that time for internship.
Yep.
So I stumbled into a post-production studio. So that got me like one step into the film industry.
Yeah.
Doing sound for film, post-audio. So I was learning sound design, like, oh, I didn't know you could do this, like combine a few sounds and that is your sound effect. But, at that time it's like 20-year-old fresh out of college, and you're just trying to find your bearings. And when you look at it, it's like, damn it, it's not musical. It's not musical. It's just like placing it to the frame, that sound effect, and it's just there. It's just monotonous at that point. But from disliking it became like, you learn to love the job along the way. So started out becoming an intern for audio post. And the company actually did location sound. So I did follow some of my mentors
Yeah.
on the field and all that. And I remember my first day on location sound it wasn't fun. But you know, when you needed to grow at that age, like you want it so bad, you have to go through the paces.
Mhm.
So I remember we were doing this feature film, this Malay feature film, and then I wasn't booming. I was the clapper boy, so the slate boy, right? So
Yeah.
the clapper boys, they actually clap in front of the camera just for singing purposes.
Yep.
So I was that. And I remember the first day of shoot, we ended up shooting for 24 hours. In fact, more. That was day one, and I could bear with it. So on the second day, it was the same scenario again. We shot until like 27 hours, and I passed out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but being a newbie and a freshie and all that, my mentor actually didn't mind. My HOD didn't mind. So because we had 3 in the team, so at least the other assistant could actually help out. So
Wait a minute.
yeah.
So what do you mean by he didn't mind?
Like,
As in, like,
because like it was my second day, like going through, you know, a 24-hour shoot, it's not easy because it's grueling. It's a lot of work.
Okay, I mean now okay, you continue your story first.
So imagine going on set, shooting long scenes. I mean, that's part of the process, right? But when you get into it and actually like, how would I put this? There's a lot of heavy lifting involved and all that, gear.
Yeah.
Even the sound card we had to actually push, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of waiting. I think the waiting does cause you to get tired a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
'Cause
especially
you're still expending energy. You know?
yeah, it's expending energy.
Mm.
And a lot of the waiting involves like for the lights to set up,
Mm.
camera to set up. So it became overnight. So it was that first experience for me, like, you know, it's not like you go out and party with your friends until 4 a.m.
Mhm.
because you know how to conserve energy, because you know how to have a good time. But when it comes to work, where you need to be 100% focused,
Yeah.
I think that's where you start to realize the tiring bits
Mhm.
and all that. So waiting, shoot here and shoot there, and looking at my watch, like, wow, 4 a.m. already, and I'm already losing balance already.
I can't imagine, man. Yeah.
So day 2 of the job,
Mhm.
you know, and I just fell asleep without knowing. So when I woke up and then I saw my HOD, I just apologized and said, "Oh damn, I'm sorry."
Okay, right. That means you passed out
I passed out.
No.
Fell asleep.
Okay, yeah.
And he said, "It's okay. You're actually very tough for your age." I was like, "Thank you."
Wow, okay.
You know, but the thing is, it's like I was very grateful to have a very compassionate mentor. And at that point, it's like, oh, if this is the kind of work that I'm gonna do, and this is what I foresee, then you have to go through the paces and keep going. See,
That's a great story, man.
so ever since then, it's been 12 years, 10 years,
Yeah.
7 years.
I mean, but what an introduction into the world, you know, straight away into the most grueling thing ever. I actually misunderstood there just now. I thought when you say pass out, you literally like fell unconscious while on the work or something like that.
But now, like tired, like
Yeah,
know,
so
just
it's more like, you know, you were sitting down there and then
Yeah.
you just, you
doze
know.
off. Man.
Yeah, the body just can't take it anymore.
Can't
No,
take
I
it.
thought that you pingsan or fainted or somewhere.
No.
Then when you said your mentor is like, oh, he didn't care. I thought it's like, oh, you know, there's more. I got 2 more interns I could use. This one just send to the hospital. It's okay,
and it was a 1-month job, so it was about a 25-day shoot. So there was a long way to go at that time.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, you know, this is like more. I suppose it's like events.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. But hang on a second. I mean, you know, I know that it is grueling. I know it is, but you know, doesn't that violate some labor law or statute like that to?
I guess this is
Or-
why we are still seeking for unions.
Okay.
But that's another conversation.
That is another, well, let's not go in
let's
there,
not
you
go
know.
there.
You know, sometimes you'll be a little bit touchy kind of a subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's crazy, man. I mean, the longest shoot that I've ever been, and I was not part of the crew, I was part of the actor that, part of the talent, because we did the shoot with Disagree, my band. The football, the Celcom Football Mad Nation.
I remember
That
that.
was 2.5 days. That was done by Barney, right?
Bunny Shua?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, back when before he went overseas lah.
Mm.
Yeah. So just being there and seeing that experience of that one at the Bukit Jalil Stadium. So that was 2.5 days.
Yep.
Yeah, that was 2.5 days for an ad, which is basically
It's a big budget.
yeah, it's like it was a very big
It's
budget
a big
production.
budget. It's a big budget.
So, but to see, the how the production crew worked, the whole thing, and I think first day was it was a good 18 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good 18 hours, And
Time
then
does
next
fly
day-
by. Time does fly by.
Yeah, then next day you kind of repeated the same thing. But the second day I think was worse because we ended up shooting throughout the night and finishing close to lunchtime. So that was good. That was also close to 24. And then
That's production.
yeah.
That sounds like production.
And after that, when I went home, I literally passed out and slept for about 20 hours, 18 hours.
Yep. That
I
sounds-
never slept for that long before because it's like,
You've never expended your energy like that. Yeah. So
and I'm just part of the talent, just imagining
Not
that,
even crew.
Not even the crew.
Not even the crew.
Yeah, and I spend most of the time just hanging around, just sitting there, and then just whenever the shot comes, then
it's funny
Yeah.
how like when we expend our energy, it's not so much of the heavy lifting that we do. I think that creates also like it's just that when you're busy and then you got that drive, you can still keep up. It's the waiting that keeps your momentum down.
the mental side of things also,
Yeah,
right?
like it's the waiting game. It's like when's the next shot, and then your momentum just drops.
Yeah. So how does one, beside your story, of course, is that you kind of, that was your internship place and then you stumble into it lah.
Yeah, and sorry.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. Everyone I've talked to, how they get into this, it's always because of music, first of all.
It's always music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always music first. And then somewhere along the line, they discover that, hey, this is something that, that's also interesting, that's fascinating, that I could do.
I think
Yeah.
also it's a blessing in disguise. Like we were talking about how when I got into post audio, it's just like
Yeah.
edit the dialogue.
Oh,
the
yeah.
sound effect is like it's done, and then put the library music there.
I feel you.
Right, it's monotonous and just like that. But it's a blessing in disguise in the sense that I had found my calling at that time. Actually, like, hey, I could do this, like I could do that, because I think by many people's standards, I don't have talent in music at all. I don't, or at least like my younger days, like, cutting to the grid and playing on time, especially if like guitar player like ourselves, right? Like when we play, right, it's like, that's not tight enough, and I just didn't have that ability yet at that time. So it's like I'm trying to find my footing at that point. So I think sound design brought me to a place where I could grow in my own right. So location sound came and never stopped since.
What would be the qualities I would say, because, for someone who's listening, what would be the qualities someone would need, to, so that maybe they can equip themselves, prepare themselves to get into this field?
I mean, if you were to split it to, you can split it to the technical and ethical side of things, right? So I would go with the ethical side first.
Okay.
Right? Like starting out as a location sound recordist, like, talking about how the hours are crazy, a lot of heavy lifting is required, and you have to deal with a lot of characters on set. Like we're not talking about on-screen characters, like we're dealing with real life characters, right? Like a mixed bag of nice people and not so.
You also have assholes as well. You can swear on this show. It's
I can
okay.
swear.
Yeah, so it's perfectly fine. I mean, I've heard your stories. We've talked about it during our during our
off-screen
meetings,
stuff.
off-screen stuff, and it's like, oh boy,
And I think
these are some of the actions literally are criminal. You could land people in jail for what things happen.
Yeah. But there's a blessing in disguise. I'm not to say I'm condoning it,
Yeah.
or I mean the experiences that I've gained throughout the years. I mean, like if I were to tell you as someone who is an aspiring sound person, sound engineer, or anything related to the sound field, is that for sound for film, being on set, it does create character. I think any job would create character, but
Yeah.
where it's exceptional in film is that, with deadlines that you have to chase, the shots that you need to get, there's a lot of rushing, and the aggression starts among everybody. And it's all about how can you tahan that, How do you tahan that, and how do you learn from that shoot?
Yeah.
And when you mess up on set, you have to really look at yourself and say, put yourself a self-appraisal
Yeah.
and say, I will do it better.
Yeah. You got to take ownership.
You have to take ownership.
of yeah.
It sucks, but that's how we grow, right? So even for film, I would say block off the noise. Just do what you need to do. Capture good sound. Just capture good sound.
Yeah. Because definitely in a film production, it is a complex machine with many cogs and many gears and many wheels and many moving parts that need to work together.
It's also beyond your gain staging. Of course, gain staging is always like the number one lesson one thing we learn, right?
Yes.
But when it comes to dialogue, you're dealing with a lot of dynamics. So some speak very soft, and some really shout out to a point where you don't know how you're gonna set your limiter at that point. So a lot of it, of course, in a studio environment, it's more controlled in the sense that you can tweak it on a bit. But when it comes to film, you're just one department. The camera crew, the lighting crew are waiting for you.
Yeah.
It's always the sound guy. It's always the sound guy. When it comes to setting up the lights, it's in tandem with the camera because they need to see the visual. If the lighting is good, then we're good to go. But when it comes to sound, everything is forgotten. It's an isolated thing.
Yeah.
So what I would say is being on the job, you have to really tahan. And it pays to tahan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you need to be, as we say,
Resilient.
thick skin a little bit. Yeah. Resilience, the good word. Yeah.
Resilience. Yeah. I would say resilient.
Muka tebal a bit lah.
Muka tebal. Of course, I'm sure some form of resilience is inborn, some is made, grown,
Like maybe you nurture it.
Nurtured is the word.
Yeah.
Nurtured, right? So I think where I was in my freshy days, right, it was pretty much nurtured.
Yeah.
So did a few, after quitting the company, I'm thinking that I could join the DSLR age, right, with all the younger guys around my age who were shooting with DSLRs that I never knew you could shoot with DSLRs. Because those days I used to be exposed to the RE film cameras, the red cameras. And then some of my friends who were still studying in university, mass comm and all that, had entered this short film competition. So they say, hey, it's on the weekend. Are you free to, do sound, to boom, and all that? So I didn't have my equipment at that time. Still working with the company, saving up money for my own gear. But they had all the minimal, the minimum. So like the Zoom H4 and a boom made in China and all that. So I'm like, bring it on.
Yeah.
So I joined these guys for the 48-hour competition, film competition at the time. This was 11 years ago. And then, I realized that I didn't know you could shoot with the DSLR. The camera's so small, you can shoot film. And that gave me an idea like, why not start my own path? Whatever I've learned, or maybe their lack of, I could compensate it by going on to the field and learning more. Screwing up more and learning more.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I just tendered my resignation, went with it, living off rented gear.
So that was quite a significant turning point. And that's what you said 11 years ago, right? Yeah. How about then? So fill in the gap for
I
us.
was learning mostly about sound design and editing.
Yeah.
And knowing in this field that no matter how many years you're in the field, there's always something new around the corner to learn.
Always, yeah.
Always, right? So it's an ever-growing thing. So learning what I could and realizing that, media was going really full-on digital at that time, like growing, like really expanding to digital, especially YouTube age and all that. So I thought, why not follow the new blood at that point? So whatever I could learn at the company, take my experiences with me and learn more outside.
Right, yeah. And you're absolutely right. There's so many things thanks to advancement with technology that you could do with a fraction of what fraction of the resources or the equipment that used to take like a whole army of personnel and gears worth of equipment to be able to do that shot. Heck, even nowadays you can do some really amazing stuff with your phone. With your phone,
the phone.
Yeah, it's amazing nowadays.
But somehow I'm still comfortable with a laptop at least.
Yeah,
a phone's processor can only go so far, I think. Yeah, so it's like mobile recording, right? It's like gotta have a laptop. It's that fail-safe thing.
Interesting. Very, very, very cool. So let's talk a little bit about, because some people are interested about the technical stuff as well. So what's your gear like, What do you usually bring along to a typical shoot?
We're talking about item specifics. Basically, like the body pack mics. Like you will see like location sound guys, you always see the boom guy. Like the guy with the boom pole, with the microphone at the other end. And that is one part of it. So we also have body pack mics which use lavalier mics, or what they call clip-on mics and lapel mics, whatever you may call them. So these are the basic necessities lah. And also your recorder which is now everything is digital now.
Yeah.
Before that, we, in the old days, we had the Nagra.
The reel-to-reel.
The reel-to-reel, and everything is in an SD card now. So, you want to talk about model specifics?
Oh, yeah. Yes, right? Please, yeah. Let's dive into the specifics. So
nothing fancy. It's a Zoom F8. Sony UWP D wirelesses. And I recently got into Deity microphones.
Right, yeah.
So the Deity Labs, the W Lab Pros. Those have served me quite a bit after the second that I had that broke down recently, sadly. So, but enough to function for jobs.
Awesome. Yeah. So for boom mic, what kind of mic do you use?
Those days, a Sennheiser, ME66, and then before that was a Rode. That was when I was starting out.
Yeah.
And the Rode was actually an interesting one. The Rode NTG one that was in one of my past works many years ago. Talking about collecting gear in the freelance world, right? Like, gotta get clients, get paid, and everything goes back to the gear, right? And there was a period of time where, when you're not so known in the industry, of course, jobs don't come in as quick. So back in the early days of like being the unknown, like, waiting on jobs, relying on rental gear. Sometimes rental gear can get things break down during, when you rent stuff for some reason. So I tried rental and I didn't want to do it again. The headphones that I was rented to was broken down. The XLR cables back then I couldn't solder, broke down. Everything broke down. Most things broke down. So I told myself, I gotta save up somehow, get my own gear. So starting out, a Rode NTG1, a very entry-level shotgun mic. Started out with that. How that happened was, I remember like, okay, I need to let go some of my stuff.
Right, okay.
So, sold the PS3. So I sold the PS3. Okay.
Oh, heartbreaking, right?
Heartbreaking, it's like, games were better with PS3, But anyway, that is like, it's for the long run.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Got the NTG1 and rocked it ever since. And then whatever wirelesses I could get from friends that I rented from, I just took it. And I was focused more on the short film scene and all that. So that path was created for me through that scene, like making short films.
Yeah.
And then eventually getting into smaller commercials. And then I just grew 2012 to 2014, around those times. So it's just like slowly pacing myself to get even further lah.
Yeah.
So where the other gears happened was when the commercials came. So smaller commercials came, talk to people, pass around the cards, do it again. But everything in between that, I think there was a lot, aside the money earned, I think a lot of the work experiences and the technical experiences and all that really roughened me up to a point where, you become polished lah. Right? When you're roughened up, you're polished. So very valuable lessons.
Yeah. Well, essentially, you put to the grinder and then you come out, you come out a polished gem lah.
In that sense, but yeah, it's like, being like a live sound engineer, you're always, of course, dealing with people as a starter, people like higher ups and all that you have to deal with. And if there's a technical problem and all that, and you're like, I've never faced this before. And then your newbie self really exposes it to the whole table, and it's not that nice.
Right.
I think it's something that every engineer has to go through at the end of the day. So going through that with shoots, went through that, and then a lot of times you'd be like, okay, I'll do it better the next time. Oh, the framing was like that. I could have brought the mic closer.
Right.
It's a little self-study every time. And then came to 2015, having a grasp of what a camera frame is and when to get the mic in, all these technical things.
Right.
I had a job given to me by my mentor who was also freelance after that, after the company also. And he said, our mutual friend,
Adrian, shout out to Adrian.
Adrian. And he said, you'll be working with Adrian. I said, hey, I haven't seen Adrian in a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was actually doing this location sound thing because he was an editor and a mixer for IUNO those days.
Correct, yeah.
So when I started working with him, I think that's where I had a real crash course. Like, oh, this is how you boom. This is how you mic up. If you see the frame, this is how you do it. So it's like a 1-day crash course for everything.
Yeah.
So everything that I've learned within that day, I carry it to me to today thanks to him.
Right, yeah.
So I think what's important in this, being in this industry, is actually really making friends. And sometimes, not to say you need to make a lot of friends, but you just need to chance upon like the key friends that will actually happen to bring you somewhere.
Yeah, they will elevate you lah. Yeah.
So I think it's with those things I practice and, you try to hone. And I suppose this is why I am where I am.
That's nice, yeah.
Earn a decent living.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, and it's quite a common theme as well with a lot of people who really excel in what they do, is that, you want to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, who are better than you, because there's no point being the smartest person in the room. Yeah. Then you think that you're the bee's knees, you're everything, you know everything. But if you're always in a situation where, there's something you can learn, there's something you can pick up from the person, then you are always on that continuous path of growth.
But then mentally, right, it's quite ironic, right? I mean, it's always good to actually self-improve. And then we ask ourselves the question, like, no matter how well off, reputation-wise you are, right? In that reputable sense, right? When you see something better than you, it's like, am I a fluke all this time? In actual fact, in result, it's all good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to yourself, right, it's like,
it's imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
That's exactly what it is, and trust me, I know how it feels. I think every person who is a creative person as well, be it, always has that feeling. It's like, when are they going to find out and discover that I'm a fake? Or like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
you always get that feeling, it's like
that thought, that thing that speaks in your head, it's like,
those voices.
Yeah.
But sometimes, the voices are there, but sometimes, you must not give into the negative side of things.
Yeah, the bigger picture of things. Yeah. And I think it's good also because it keeps one grounded.
Yeah.
I would think so. I think there's a blessing in disguise in that. Like, it keeps you grounded. Like, hey, you think you're the top shot here? No, there's always someone there.
There is. Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
are you gonna create like better sounds for people?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what keeps us grounded. And
Yeah.
the opportunities I got later after that, right? It's like, wow, commercial brand for this one, commercial brand of that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like, sometimes you know, that voice comes in your head like, why did that guy hire me?
But sometimes 100%, 100%, man. Yeah. But sometimes it's because, because you're a great person to work with. I think that's important, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You not necessarily always you do want to look for, whoever is the most changgay person or whoever's got the best gear or has got the best skills. But sometimes you want to work with people who are pleasant to work with.
I agree.
Who are nice, who are a team player, who can work in a team together.
That don't create a toxic environment.
Yeah. I think that's very important.
I think being in this field for these number of years, right? Like more than a decade, right? I think what I realized is that aside, I'm appreciative of all the opportunity given, but it comes to a point where you choose who you like to work with. Because here's the thing, it's not nothing towards like personal or anything like that.
Correct.
But you kind of know the team that does the job. And you can work with the team that does a good job. And you can work together.
Yes.
Very,
very important.
Very important. I think I've seen many cases where there are a lot of technically proficient guys out there. But when you butt heads with personality issues, you may not get the result you want. I think it's the same with band, right? You can have the most proficiently technical musician, but in a band, when you don't have that chemistry, it's gone. It's the same thing with film.
It's the same thing.
You can have the best gear, but I think it boils down like guitar player to guitar player, right? You can have any gear in the world, but if you can't play it as well, you're not doing justice to whatever you have in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
I think in film, technical proficiency aside, I think having a good habit of a good form of work routine with what to do on set and all that does make a difference.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what I admire about you guys. That's what I admire about you. That's what I admire about Adrian. People who work in this. Again, this is not my area. It's definitely, above my pay grade. But, I admire because of the situations that you put yourselves in, the way that you have to work, having to deal with people. I'm so safe and secure inside the studio. So, for us, for me, it's more really so much a walk in the park, because in here, everything is controlled. Everything is dictated by my own terms. It's done my way. It's done this certain way.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you go out and you work with different people and teams, that is where the more fascinating and the adventure and excitement is there.
I think I would view it differently. Like, I would think about it the same way you would think, because like, being like, I could edit my own guitars, drums, I've never had the chance to actually edit a real live drum. But I could imagine on the recording perspective, like, if I were to edit drums, if the drummer is not as proficient, I can imagine the amount of work and hell you have to actually edit out like certain cymbal bleeds in between. I mean, that's just the thought of someone who has not had the chance to do it.
Yeah.
But, it's like, when it comes to our jobs, right, in that technical area of things, there's always that unknown mystery thing, like, do you want to step into that? Because, there's a bunch of possible difficulties that you may not be able to handle.
Yeah.
But
it's exactly the same reason why I never gravitated. I'm, not to say never lah. I first of all, I have definitely never ever done any sort of location sound, and I have never really gone into live sound, because again, so many variables out there, things that are beyond your control. That's why I feel so much more safe and secure inside
I think
the studio
that's also
environment.
important because when you realize your ability and when people appreciate your ability, there's no way but up but to hone your skills on top of that. If we were to spread ourselves too thin and doing everything, I think there won't be specialists.
That's right, yeah. And sometimes the trend is like that lah. People want, people who can do jack of all trades and do everything. But
I admire those guys, but sometimes...
Sometimes there is, and obviously if there's a budget for it, it's always best to hire specific and that's actually, again, we could go into this whole topic lah of why, if you want to try and achieve what Hollywood is doing, okay, budgets aside lah, okay, we cannot compare lah.
Budgets aside, I think like we want to be the next Quentin Tarantino, we want to be the next James Cameron, but I think what needs to improve is basically workflow. I think that goes for any industry. Like if you don't have a continuously improve workflow, then there's bye to your Oscars. I mean, that's the hard truth.
I mean, that's what they wanted to do. They want to make Malaysian film to be in the Oscars.
I mean, we had a South American guy, like a post-sound guy or a composer, right? Who actually won a film award overseas, right?
Yeah, Alvin Wing. Yeah. So I had the opportunity to talk with him, so I interviewed him as well.
And I think it's possible. You just need to change our mindset about things and really reevaluate things.
And I spoke to Alvin, right? Who, his most well-known work is actually being the score mixer for Encanto. So he did Encanto, right? He does a lot for video games, game trailers, game music as well.
Wow.
I also spoke to Soya Su, who is an assistant for Hans Zimmer.
Classmate.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, both of you were...
Cosmate, not say cosmate.
No, both of you in ICOM, is it?
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Acoustics.
Yeah. Who senior? Which batch?
I was the senior.
Yeah.
But somehow they are...
So yes.
They just blended
correct.
in.
So amazing, doing great work over there. But actually, one of the lessons that they actually told, from their conversation with them, it's not to say that we, that Malaysian engineers or people can't do or don't have the technical proficiency. The main takeaway that I really took from what they shared is that there's a lot of teamwork involved over there. It is, the work is spread out over different departments, different teams, each check and QC each other. Yeah, instead of, hiring one person to do everything, that person just gets burdened with all the work. It's burdened with all the pressure and
not
everything
efficient.
is on that one person. It's not necessarily in an efficient way, and your end product's not that good.
Correct.
So you're trying to save money in one way, but in the end,
I think in Hollywood they do have sound stages. So it's a very controlled environment. I mean, like the intel, I only got it from forums, right? Sound stages and controlled acoustics and everything. So it makes it a little bit easier for location sound guys. But I think the blessing behind shooting in Malaysia actually, right? Especially when you're recording at the side of the road, possible traffic and stuff like that, right? It's that it trains you to work with your surroundings. So that when you're overseas in a better environment, you're like, I'm now very appreciative. But
one of the interesting things that about that as well, again, from what I read, I'm no expert in this, is that sometimes all these local sounds are unique to a certain area or certain city or region. Traffic noise, or an environment noise in KL is different from New York or London, so sometimes, that's why the role of you guys is so important, because you really make the thing sounds convincing. Yeah, so, people can tell the difference that it doesn't match if you are shooting let's say a scene in KL, but you just use a sample library of some Western city.
I think
the sounds just, you don't feel Yeah.
I think that's what we have been just fighting a good fight for sound. You know, like imagine like in a day of the life, let's say if a short summary of a day of the life, right?
Yeah.
It's like
That'll be good. Yeah.
when you got a job, you got a brief,
Mm-hmm.
and you look at the call sheet. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is where and what they're going to shoot in this setting, whether it's a car setting, whether it's at the school.
Mm-hmm.
Are there going to be a lot of people? What time is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is traffic going to be an issue because of rush hour?
Mm.
So, gear aside, I will look at my, you know, my whole inventory. I park at one corner, my sound card is there. And I would just think like, okay, I'll bring this mic. I'll bring this cable in case of contingencies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I run mostly on wireless. Even my boom is on wireless.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, when you have your own tools, especially like medical tape, just the mic out one
Right.
actors, and even like they have those what they call the furries,
Mm-hmm.
is to actually dispel noise
Yeah.
and rustle. And the prep is what makes a good shoot.
Mm.
I think with anything in life, like a good prep creates a good output of the overall work result.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my usual process all the time.
Yeah.
And then I'll just study the script a little bit and then study the movement. Sometimes I'll call the AD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I say, hey, are we going to shoot this way or that way? What do we need? And stuff like that. It's just anticipating possible problems
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that we need to solve on the spot. So I think the greater challenge is basically not being able to see the future, but to anticipate the future.
Mm.
I think like our job is quite hazardous. can be quite hazardous.
Yeah.
And anything can happen. So I think overall, right, through the years of shooting, I think that's also touched my personal life in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
In a good way, in a sense that if I were to wake up every morning, do something, I need to plan my time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the best time management skills, but you know, make do.
Yeah.
But whatever I've gained through the years, I think it's made me take on more seriously with life, because I think location sound in production, it teaches you a lot about life.
Mm.
Dealing with people, dealing with situations outside.
Mm-hmm.
And after seeing many things and continuing to learn, it's like you start to learn that you can't take it for granted. It become very meditative after that.
Very, very cool. Yeah.
So location sound, I won't say it's for the tough, but it builds you to be tough.
That's a very good takeaway, you know. And I mean, you know, that's a great thing to share lah. Again, the benefit, you know, like hopefully my goal always is to somebody who's watching this, right? Hopefully, you know, someone who's a kid or aspiring musician, and then they can see and then hear this and say, hey, you know, oh, this is something that I can do, you know.
Aspire to be.
Yeah, you know, and then to learn from your experience and your lessons and your you know, your pathway lah.
I think what's important, what should have been important 10 years ago is that I remember like taking whatever I could from the company before going freelance, is that when you want to learn more about location sound or the nuances of it, right? The very intricate parts of it, right? You go on to Google 10 years ago. You type in location sound, nobody knows what location sound is.
Yeah.
And I was like, is there another term for it?
Mm.
If I knew production sound, I could have gotten a better search, right?
Yeah.
But then again, so it's good that now in this day and age that with new media, with TikTok and all that, like there are some people who do want to improve their sound. They could just look up like what's the next best thing I could get.
Yep.
And the thing is, compared to many years ago, it's now accessible. Like they could just get a Zoom, they could just get a Rode, and you know it works wonders, and they can learn all these things. So I think like for those who actually want to get into location sound, really this is a very good time to get into, because information is just now spread.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a growth of everything's digital content now.
Yeah.
So there's a demand for anything audio related.
Yep.
I tell this to music students as well, is that yes, your dream is to always be a performer, to be a recording artist, to write songs and put songs out.
Yep.
There's actually a whole huge market of making music, composing music for content creators, making music for corporations, companies who want to, promote their products or their services.
I agree.
Yeah.
And this was, I think they were starting that already 8 years ago. Like, music theory to me is just nada, right? Like C#, I get a bit of that. I don't know what's the key of A.
Don't let Freddie hear this music theory.
No, I'm cap guy. It's different, not music student.
Oh right, you were not under BMOS. Didn't go with BMOS.
No.
Yeah. Cap. Who was teaching Cap during that time?
Z,
Mr. Z.
Rishabh.
Hey, Mr. Z.
Rishabh. And those days, Vinay, I think.
Vinay was still around that time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Very, very cool.
So after that, I remember in the YouTube age, like, I was like focusing on my band stuff and all that, and I wanted to learn how to write synthesizer stuff. And to me, it's like, okay, I can write stuff here, 6 strings, but not on the keys. I just put on like YouTube, how to write a chord on MIDI. Like I just need to find the formula, and they just teach you in a way that you don't know anything, and you can just fire it up and just go. And I think that's very cool in this day and age where you can just get information where it's catered for the layman. Even for location sound these days, I mean, with more people making movies or short films, information is all there. I don't think technology is killing us. I think lack of education is killing us.
100%, man. Yeah. It stems from that lah. It stems from getting the right knowledge, getting is one thing, but also applying it.
Even for location sound, you go on set, and these days you hear like, oh, let's fix it in post. Oh, that chuck is noisy. Let's fix it in post. But you and I know that processors and all that can only go so far. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting the technique right.
Right. Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing.
So speaking about post processing, sometimes on some projects you are also expected to do a little bit of the post production, right? Sometimes. But what would you usually use? What DAW you use? What are your usual tools?
Not much. Reaper. Because it's cheap.
That's the job perfectly. Yeah.
Because it's cheap.
Yeah.
But delving deep into it, actually, it's a very good Swiss Army knife. Like just throw it in there and it's workable.
Yes.
But I don't usually handle audio posts a lot. So mostly my focus has always been location sound, and the rest is just back to the edit house, and I could just sleep.
Right.
But there was a film I did with Aaron Chung. Shout out to Aaron Chung.
Hey, shout out to Aaron. Yeah.
And we had this submission to do for the Georgetown Festival in Penang.
You told me about this, right? But please relate the story again for listeners.
So basically, in Georgetown Festival has a plethora of activities, like dances and all that. It's a whole mixed bag of stuff.
Yeah.
So there was actually a film category on it where they have a short film competition. So he said, take one weekend, just shoot a film, and why not I do the post? I just asked him like, hey, I'll do the location sound. But since this is like a passion project where I can have, have my hand in it, no clients watching over my back for a while. On this project. Also, I have free reign of doing that because most of my time in my career, most of my years in this line is that when I record, I send it to a post house and end of story, I can move on with my life.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to hone that aspect. So I said, hey, maybe this is a good opportunity to do it. So talking about getting the best source you could so that you can make it easier for your, your editors to handle your source. But when you do it yourself and it was recorded okay, But it was always the little details that really irked me all the time. Like, I remember editing one dialogue, overlaying the ambience I recorded on set. And then it's always that little bit that you try to denoise, but you can't denoise too much. And then you have to EQ a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me. But it's just I think it's all about the distance you go for what you do. I think, unfortunately, in a real life setting, that's not always appreciated by other people.
Yep.
But I think for me, it's never deterred me. The reason why I think we take our job seriously is because, it's sound guys in general, right? Is because we don't want to call 4 a.m. in the morning by our editor and say, why is there a problem? Why is this a problem?
Yeah.
We just want to be able to sleep at night and say, I earned my keep.
Yeah.
I got paid the job and I earned it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah lah.
So looking back in all the stuff you did, is there any particular project or something that you're most proud of? Well, what would be your most proud work in this area?
I would say it was a short film. It was just like one of those like opportunities that somebody calls you and just like, okay, I'll just jump into it, and you don't expect much. I think, and that project was a short film. I think we submitted for BMW Shorties.
Yep.
So this was 2016. We just submitted it, and to me, it was just no expectations. I did what I could. And suddenly, when results came in, we won the grand prize. Grand prize for BMW Shorties.
Yep.
Film title was Hawa.
Hawa.
I think
who was the writer, directors, and behind it?
Shout out to Tan Siding.
Right, yeah.
So that was actually, funny enough, like that was the project that actually launched my career in the sense that when we won, or rather he won because he's the director, right?
Yeah.
He's the creator of the film, right? I was still using the Zoom H6 at that time. People were telling me about the Zoom F8, but I just want to get my technique right. I'm not ready to move up and, just get more clientele and see where it goes. So I said, okay, if we want this, maybe I'll make the move. And suddenly, kaboom, won it. And then, got the money, went to Jalan Imbi, got all the stuff. I've never shopped so much in my life. Can you imagine like going on a shopping spree, right? Like
Christmas came early.
Christmas came early, and it was November, like almost December at that point, right? So when Zoom F8 was on sale, get it?
CK Music year-end sale.
And then the bag and all that, of course, I had it shipped overseas.
Accessories.
Accessories and stuff like that. And it was at that point in my life where it's like, hey, this is the first time I've ever felt like there's a step up in my life.
Yeah.
Most of the time you just do what you do and you don't feel it. But at that point, it was that sense of validation.
Yeah.
But with validation comes like, not to say resting on your laurels so much. It was more like, when I buy this, I got to up my game somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not the hottest guy in town. There's always got someone out there who's going to swallow you up, like a younger guy, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
And no faults to them, but it's more faults to us where you have to really grow. So getting all this fancy gear, and I've never felt, it's like you've never tasted success so much in one day.
Yeah.
And then just grew from there, and I think when it comes to aside technical proficiency, I mean, that will always be honed.
Yeah.
And then comes like seeking out for better clients because, you just want to elevate things a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. And because like, it's that tunnel vision before where you just want to get your technique right so you can get hired again. And then when you start seeing results, you're going to maintain that, of course. And then comes the business side, like, where can I find better clients so that I can live a certain lifestyle that I'm comfortable with and grow? So I think that at that point, 5 years, 6 years ago, was a time like, okay, things are getting very serious. Like, doing commercials, now they need this. There's a lot of shoes to fill at that point.
That's a great story, man. Yeah, that's I'm sure, the feeling must have been undeniable lah. Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. But I think also because fortunately, I think it was at that point I felt even more serious about my work. It's like it's not because of ego or anything like that. It's just more like I care about my product a lot because this is the rep you carry, and it's like, how are you gonna maintain at that point? Of course, you gotta be humble about it, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like everybody else. It's your bread and butter.
Yeah,
the accreditations are just something to actually bring you to another place.
Yeah, charge more lah. Now my rates are this much already.
I mean, had to earn it.
Yes,
had
correct.
to really earn it.
That's right.
So I think we had this conversation at AES the other day, what makes you charge the way you charge, and I had premeditated that a lot and asked myself that a lot.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at my past cases of shoots where a sound guy couldn't make it, and I think he was sick or something, and then they needed me immediately. I had to call 2 hours on the shoot day itself in the morning. I had 2 hours to prep and go on set. I think it's the ability to be able to solve problems, even unique problems through experience. I think that's what creates value in a person.
Very well said, man. Yeah.
It's not because we have, part of it is
yes,
very good gear, reliable gear. That's why we pay X amount for this gear or that gear, because it helps make our lives easier and excel. But I think the other portion that people miss out is, can you solve certain unique problems that maybe someone else may not know? I think that's why we charge what we charge.
Yeah. And again, man, it's again, you guys, have this ability and this challenge, which I don't envy, I don't envy having to solve these kind of things.
Understand.
Yeah.
I think I get that a lot. When it comes hey, you're out on the ground and, you get people shouting at you, how do you bear with it? I think what makes me fall back a lot of times is, I think after winning the award and, a few other films and all that, especially even for the Georgetown Festival, which we won an award for that, I think it's more like when you look back at successes of your own, it's not so much about, I can be big-headed now, I can afford to be big-headed. I think it's looking back of the life that you had before these things happened. And you wouldn't have it any other way, where maintaining your standards meant maintaining the lifestyle that you have always wanted. And because of this, I think when it comes to production, I'm grateful because, there are things that I could afford, which I couldn't before. And you have that certain power. It's like you become more appreciative of things.
Yep.
You wouldn't take it for granted. Even when it comes to, when talking about the ethical side of working, right? Like getting your cables right, getting all the nitty-gritty right so that you can work in peace. And I think production has made me grow in the sense that when it comes to other things in my life, like setting certain schedules and all that, I will commit to it and do it. Even when it comes to playing music live those days, like technical checkups, sound check, and all that.
Yep.
First priority.
Yeah.
Because I look at it like a film set. Because film set is like life. Like everything is thrown at you unexpectedly. Yeah.
Yeah. And we could get into the music thing as well, but there'll be another, you got to come back, for another time, and then we'll talk about the music side, because for if people don't know, right, you're also a pretty, pretty awesome guitarist yourself, You can talk and we could have a whole other episode just talking about guitar stuff, man.
I think that's my escape. I think it's anybody's escape.
Yeah.
Anybody's escape. I think talking about production, I think aside from production, I think music has always been that little.
Has always been there with you, yeah.
That refuge. Like going on the way to set, right? 6 a.m., 4 a.m. waking up, changing, call times at 7. And it's like, I had to deal with this guy, I had to deal with that guy. I'm like, what's going to pump me up, Caffeine doesn't really work. It gives me palpitations. I mean, at a younger age, those days. I remember back, Megadeth, Metallica, Pantera on the way, just like, I'm ready to shoot, man. I'm ready to take on the world.
Yeah. Three of the big four.
Three of the big four, right? So I'll be like, I think music gives...
the fourth number, sorry, I digress. Number 4 is Anthrax, right?
Anthrax.
Yes.
Pantera was in the 90s. Not so much. And I think it's more, I think where music is important to me is because, in relation to production, is because like it's always that fallback. Like, hey, despite you being a specialist of something in sound, you know, there's a reason why you did it in the first place. And that's music. Is that little refuge that keeps you going. It's not so much about, well, it is, but philosophically, it's like, it's not so much about getting the sound right and all that. I mean, that is a must. But I think the very reason of our purpose is that love for that bit, which is music. I think when you get into the technical side, it's always getting things right.
Yeah.
And everything follows in that principle.
Very, very well said, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a good place that we can wrap this up. And, you know, we could, again, you know, we've chatted so many times already, you know, during our meetings. We've talked about all different stuff. And I know we could go into a lot of different areas as well.
They're meant to be unsaid in public.
Yeah. I've already listened to your the stories as well. All the different dramas.
I think everybody has their own war story, which makes things very interesting.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to even whether you're in the film business, whether you're in the studio business, I think it's very crucial. Like everybody wants everything.
Yeah.
But I think as studio owners or engineers in our own right, it's like it's all about the ROI.
So what's next? You know, what is next for JD? Any upcoming projects? Anything that you personally want to talk about or plug or?
Well, just to shoot. I mean, shoots as usual. I mean, shoots is one. But I've honestly, through many years, I've not dabbled with mixing music for a long time. And I think during the pandemic, I did pick up a few things. I mean, like, we're talking about imposter syndrome, right? So imagine like, you get this job, you get that job, and then it's like, hey, I can hire this guy, this guy is reliable. But, you know, when we were talking about being sound engineers, right? What are we doing? You know, like, what exactly are we doing? Like, do you even know what you're doing? I mean, that thought always creeps out in my mind no matter how well I want to do my job. So I think during the pandemic, during the first MCO, I did pick up soldering. Soldering has never been my strong suit.
Oh, no. Yeah, likewise.
You know, I think it's the past trauma of like not burning yourself is fine. Burning something that you spend money on to actually make the damn cable.
Right.
Yeah. So it was at that point like there were times where I had broken cables on set in the past. And I said to myself, I cannot afford to go to Jalan Pudu or Jalan Pasar when I have a shoot the next day when something's broken.
Yeah.
So during the lockdown, I really sat down and just worked at it.
Wow.
And talking about imposter syndrome, that lowered a bit, but better than nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So I think what's crucial about being in this line is technical proficiency, not so much about the mixing or recording part. That comes part and parcel. I think everybody should learn how to solder. At least the basics.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe this is going to be my resolution for 2023 then, you know, that I got to, you know, teach myself how to pick up a soldering iron again.
It's not so much like, it's not a drag like trying to eat your vegetables and all that, but but when you get the gist of it, right, now it's like, wow, I can see like origami cables at warehouse sale prices.
Oh, that's a good way to think about it. Yes.
And the Nutris you could get at the Nutri connectors you can get at better prices and all that, and you don't have to be charged for labor charge by someone else. It's always handy to learn soldering. You know, it's not fun, but when you keep practicing and you got a hand in it, it's a handy tool where you eventually save money off cables. You know, and you can figure out parts that you want to get, which usually cost a lot for ready-made ones. And there are a lot of possibilities. Like you want to prove yourself as a better engineer. There are many ways, but I think soldering is one of the crucial things to learn. You know.
Well, I guilty as charged. I know.
Never
I've never always avoided that.
Never
Always,
too late to start. You know.
right? Yeah, never too late. Yes,
I
time to
mean,
learn new tricks.
10 years.
New tricks.
New
New
trick.
These are insider engineer jokes. Yeah. Let's wrap this up. Yeah.
but
So we're good.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
again for doing this, man. Hey, so how do people reach you? Your social media?
social
You
media.
know, any how do people get in touch with you, lah? If we want to hire you.
Well, Facebook will be it lah. I'm not just gonna give out my phone number somewhere and
Correct.
have a scammer these days call me.
Oh yeah.
You know, that one is rampant these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Facebook would be
Cheah Jie Juan.
okay. Yeah.
Put in the supers.
I'll put it down there. Yeah. I will superimpose it.
Yeah.
Any other social media in Instagram? Are you
not-
on that?
I mean, the Instagram thing is a very personal, the personal one.
It's
So
more of a personal
not
stuff lah.
really. But,
So work related stuff would be through Facebook lah.
and also like, after starting out Twitter, but that's just to read news.
Yeah.
So I'm not active
So
on that.
mainly always more through FB lah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I usually include that down so that again people want to reach
Yeah.
out and contact you.
But-
That's how we do lah.
Thank you for inviting.
No, thanks for doing this, man. I mean,
It's a pleasure.
albeit to some technical issues and technical difficulties, but in the end, it's all sorted. We
Yep.
managed to do it anyway. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll have to fix it in post.
At least it's minor.
The dreaded words that we hear. Fix it in post.
At least this is minor.
Yeah, we can just edit only.
Edit
Yeah.
only.
Okay, man.
But
So
thank you.
yeah, thank you, man. All right. So bye, folks, everyone. All right. And cut. And clap.
That's the habit lah.
Bang, bang, back.